to Mushin community. Federal government dismisses allegations of empowering bandits. On a foreign scene, Indonesian student groups, others, call off protests after weeks of deadly unrest. And in sports, Bayern Leverkusen sacks head coach Erik ten Hag. And now the details. I am Akan Usen. Lagos State Domestic and Sexual Violence Agency, DSVA, has taken its sensitization campaign directly to out-of-school children in Mushin's Akala Iduru area to safeguard the rights and well-being of vulnerable children. The outreach held under the agency's Inclusive Prevention Program aims to educate street-connected and at-risk children about sexual and gender-based violence as well as broader issues of child protection. Executive Secretary of the DSVA, Titilola Vaivo Adeni, who was represented by Mr. Oluwatosin Emmanuel and Ms. Bankole Precious, co-facilitated the session, which focused on topics such as recognizing inappropriate behavior, understanding personal boundaries, and speaking up through safe channels. Also, Mrs. L. Nwankwo from the Child Protection Network, who assured the children of the support available through community-based structures, encouraged them to seek help when needed. In a continued effort to strengthen healthcare delivery in Lagos, the Directorate of Health Information Management System under Health District 4 has conducted a 2-day training for health information management officers. The training, which focused on data management, data security, and health data reporting, was held for officers across primary healthcare districts within the district. A major highlight of the session was a presentation by Data Protection Officer Rotimi Onide, who stressed the importance of safeguarding sensitive health information and maintaining data confidentiality across all health systems. Also monitoring and evaluation officers from Lagos Island local government, Zainab Agbalaya, and her counterpart in Apapa, Kudirat Lawal, covered topics such as proper record keeping in attendance and outpatient registers, as well as managing data on newborn care and complications. Niger State Governor Mohammed Bago has dissolved his cabinet, asking the permanent secretaries to take over affairs of the ministries pending when new commissioners will be inaugurated. Bago takes the action today during a weekly State Executive Council meeting, warning the outgone ministers against lobbying anyone for any position. He assured that in a week or two he will constitute a new cabinet and review everyone's performance. Now to the rest of the story. The government has strongly dismissed allegations by former Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai that it operates a policy of empowering or incentivizing bandits. In a statement released by the Office of the National Security Advisor and signed by the spokesperson Zakari Menjeyawa, the claim was described as baseless and false. El-Rufai had alleged in a recent interview that the office was coordinating policies involving payments and incentives to criminal groups. The statement further clarified that the government has adopted a dual approach in the fight against insecurity, combining military operations with community engagement strategies. The Nigeria Police Force has opened a condolence register at its force headquarters in Abuja to honor the memory of the late Solomon Arase, who passed on at age 69. The national flag at the force headquarters in Abuja has been lowered to half-mast and a condolence register opened for officers and members of staff to pay their final respects. Inspector General of Police Kayode Egbetokun led tributes, describing Arase as a revered leader whose legacy and reforms brought positive change to the force. And now to foreign news. Student groups and civil society organizations in Indonesia have called off planned protests in the capital, Jakarta, following a week of deadly unrests over lawmakers' pay. The cancellations come as authorities ramp up security across the city after protests turned violent, leaving at least 8 people dead. Among the victims was a motorcycle taxi driver who was killed after being struck by a police vehicle on Thursday night, a tragic incident that intensified the demonstrations. An umbrella student group said it faced impossible conditions that made continuing the protests unsafe. Similarly, the Alliance of Indonesian Women cited fears of a government crackdown as the reasons for stepping back. And now sports. Bayer Leverkusen has sacked head coach Erik ten Hag just after 2 games into the new Bundesliga season. The decision was officially announced by the club, marking another abrupt chapter in Ten Hag's managerial journey. The Dutchman, who was dismissed by Manchester United in October last year, had only recently taken the reins at Leverkusen following the departure of Xavi Alonso, who left to manage Real Madrid. Leverkusen sporting director Simon Rolfs acknowledged that the decision was difficult but necessary. And that's all for the news at 4. Ensure the registration mark on your vehicle is clear and visible at all times. You can follow us and like all our various social media platforms on X at Traffic Radio 961, Facebook Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM, Instagram Lagos Traffic Radio 961, YouTube at Traffic Radio 961. Visit our website on www.trafficradio961.ng. You can also listen to Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM live on My Lagos app for timely updates. Did you know that the Sanwo-Olu administration organized a mentorship seminar for over 1,000 youths on the theme Agripreneur, Strategy for Wealth Creation? You can get more details on the Lagos State government's website. To end the news, here are the highlights of the major stories. The Lagos State Domestic and Sexual Violence Agency, DSVA, has taken its sensitization campaign directly to out-of-school children in Mushin's Akala Iduro area to safeguard the rights and well-being of vulnerable children. The federal government has strongly dismissed allegations by former Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai that it operates a policy of empowering or incentivizing bandits. We also told you that student groups and civil society organizations in Indonesia have called off planned protests in the capital, Jakarta, following a week of deadly unrest over lawmakers' pay. And in sports, Bayer Leverkusen has sacked head coach Erik ten Hag just after 2 games into the new Bundesliga season. For contact with the newsroom, please send a message to info@trafficradio961.ng. And that ends the news broadcast compiled by Adirayo Idowalaya. I am Akan Usen. Thanks for listening and please stay safe. Good afternoon.